Hey guys, it's Licious Kid from ClimaxCombo, and we are skipping a week. Like I said in the last Leaks of the Week, I was really busy with finals and whatnot, but now I'm done. And of course, I would like to catch up to Leaks of the Week, but I think I'm going to skip a week. Normally, this should be November 30th to December 4th, which featured the final week for Unlimited Blade Works Part 2 and for the Schoolgirl Strikers trial deck. Both did get released on December 4th, but I think I'm going to skip that week because for that week there wasn't really anything exciting. It was just trial deck cards, and not like the cool trial deck cards. Those were already shown in the first week for Schoolgirl Strikers. Just like lame trial deck cards. And for Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works, they already showed off all the double R's in the previous videos or in the previous weeks, and that week was just like miscellaneous commons, uncommons, just a lot of really like gimmicky cards. And honestly, the set's been out for like a week, a little over a week now. It's like a week and a half now. And if you were interested in that set, I'm sure you guys already saw the list or played against it or played with it. So I didn't really think it was necessary to review a week filled with commons, uncommons, and trial deck cards. You know what I mean? So why not just skip a week and go on ahead? So I decided to do that, and so yeah, here we are now. But like I always do when a new set comes or when the release date of a set comes out, I talk about what I think about the set. Uh, Schoolgirl Strikers, uh, whatever. It's a trial deck. Trial deck is a trial deck, nothing special. Unlike Cinderella Girls trial deck, there's not that many good cards in this set or in this trial deck. Like the blue Cinderella Girls trial deck had the level 3 Lean, which actually turns out to be a fairly decent card. I see a couple lists actually run it, so that's really cool. I see, or then it has like the blue heal event, and it also has the level 0 Dean, which is also really good. Nothing too fancy in the Schoolgirl Strikers trial deck. If you're interested in the set, why not pick up a trial deck? Because who knows, maybe something in it will actually turn out to be good. And so yeah, Schoolgirl Strikers, nothing special. Your typical average trial deck. As for Unlimited Blade Works Part 2, I think it's a fairly solid booster. It's alright. I think all the double R or a lot of the double R's are fairly solid. Like all three yellow double R's I think are fairly good and add a lot to the yellow color in Fate, so that's really good. The one green double R, only one, but the one green double R does I think adds a lot to the green rider deck for Fate, giving them a good level 2 play. Uh, I think that's really awesome. So the green double R is fantastic. The three red double R's, the Archer Rin is really good. I think it's a very versatile card, so that alone I think adds a huge boon to Fate as it is. And it's really good for English America as well, because now they have something very similar to the Archer and Rin. Not exactly the same, but something quite similar, and I think that's awesome. The 2-1 Archer is kind of gimmicky, not a real fan of it, so I probably think that's the worst double R in that set. So the red one's also fairly good, and lastly the blue double R. It's okay for the master build. If you're going like a master build or like a blue build, I think it's fairly good. And also like the set as a whole, uh, added a lot of blue cards for like Ilya Berserker deck. I know there's a lot of Ilya fans out there. If you couldn't get enough Ilya with your Ilya extra booster set, you can make another Ilya deck with the new Fate booster. So overall, I think the booster, the commons, uncommons, they're like really bad, but a lot of the double R's are fairly solid. So I think it's a fairly solid booster, and yeah, I'm quite happy with it. So here's hoping that Fate becomes a bit more competitive in the future. So yeah, I think that's all I have for those sets. I overall Fate fairly solid. Schoolgirl Strikers, it's a pretty underwhelming trial deck in all honesty. But yeah, that's it for that. On to the current sets. So this week will be November 7th to the 11th. This week will feature the Kantai collection, the Abyssal Fleet. It is an extra booster. It's a 50 card extra booster, and it will feature blue, green, and it will feature the double R rarity. There's 6 double R's, 3 for green and 3 for blue. So because it does have the double R's, if you are planning to buy boosters, it is going to be a bit difficult getting a playset of all them. And yeah, if you guys don't know about the Abyssals, they are you can run the new extra booster in conjunction with the old Kantai characters. So you can mix and match the two sets. However, do keep in mind that extra booster is about the Abyssal Fleet, which are the bad guys that you fight in the game. So there's no real synergy between them, since all the synergy in the first two Kantai sets were focused on ship girls. The new extra booster is focused on synergy with the Abyssal Fleet, And so there's no real synergy between the two. Yes, you can mix and match the two, but you might be lacking some synergy, which might overall hurt your deck as a whole. But I think I'll talk more about that perhaps after we're done with leaks of the week, because I think it's just something I'd like to talk about at the very end. And yeah, just this the set does come out on the 18th of December, I believe, so tomorrow. Only 2 weeks for Kantai collection. Very short, but it is only an extra booster. So yeah, only 2 weeks of leaks for Kantai collection. And this week we start a little, very tiny, small amount of Love Live. Uh, guys know me. I'm very excited for Love Live. The Love Live extra booster is coming out on the 15th of January, if I recall correctly. Very, very, very excited. Um, and I'm sure you guys are wondering if I did buy boxes. And of course I did buy boxes. I bought 10 extra boosters because the new Love Live booster does have the double R rarity as well. At first I only purchased 8, and then after I figured out they had the double R rarity, I just had to put in 2 more boxes because I really do want to play set up everything. And the more holos I can get, of course, the better. And I also did pre-order 1 variety pack, the new Love Live variety set. There's no real leaks for those because it's mainly just a reprint of a bunch of old cards but hollowed out. But with it, you get like a boost. I think you get like a deck box and sleeves. I did pre-order one, and the special variety set did come out last Tuesday on the 15th, if I recall correctly. But I did order a lot of other things in the month of December. So one of the items I am purchasing in December is coming out at the end of December. So since I ordered them all together in one shipment, they're going to be shipped out at the end of December. So the variety set opening will be delayed till early January, hopefully. Hopefully the holidays don't delay that shipping too much. But yeah, only got 1 variety set. I kind of wanted 2, but with Christmas shopping and Christmas shopping and the extra boosters coming out, I didn't really want to buy another variety set. They're kind of expensive. They're at $20. I didn't really feel like I wanted to, but I didn't feel like I needed it. So I only bought 1 in the end. But I think yeah, that's long enough for an intro, 7-minute intro. So you know what? Let's get to it now. 3-2, 13k, R 2 Soul, Air Defense Princess, Abyssal Fleet, and Princess. So quite exciting right off the bat, a level 3. So she has 4 effects. She's quite an interesting card. She has a continuous ability of when this card is on another border of your center stage other than the middle, she loses 4k power. Her second effect, when this card is on the middle border of your center stage, for every other empty border or reverse character on your center stage, she loses 2k power. She has a third auto ability, when this card is played from hand to stage, you can look at up to top 3 cards from your deck and add up to 1 of those cards in your hand and discard any remaining cards to your waiting room. And lastly, it combos with this pants. I'm not going to say the name of the pants, it's a little weird for a guy to say it. But anyways, when this card reverses its opponent battle and you can't pay cost, if you do, place this card back to stand, and the cost is pay 3, send 1 pants on your climax border to your waiting room. And the pants is only a common. So Air Defense Princess, I think she's a very interesting card. I think there's a lot about her, or a lot to talk about her. Just so many pros and cons. So of course, her first pro is that she's 13k, very, very, very high power. I can't really think of another card that's higher than 13k base. This might be the highest base power in Weiss. Maybe there's some weird wonky card I can't think of, but 13k, very, very high. Of course, it does comes with a lot of downsides. First of all, she has to be in the middle border of your center stage for her to keep the 13k. If she's on another border, she loses 4k, which sounds like a lot, but it's actually not that bad, because it's 4k, seeing as how she's 13k base, she will be 9k on the left or right border of the stage, which is a lot, which isn't very high, but it's not the end of the world. Especially because her double attack, as you can see, is dependent on reversing its opponent's character. But if your opponent has like a level 0 on the left or right border, why not just, put her on the left or right border to guarantee the double attack, because she's attacking a level 0, so her being 9k is more than enough to kill a level 0. So the first effect does sound like a huge downside, but depending on the state of the board, it's actually not too bad. It just really depends on, like I said, the state of the board. So her first effect, kind of a bummer, but honestly not the end of the world, especially because her double attack is not tied to a level restriction, a level condition, or like a level requirement, so not too bad. Her second effect, however, when she is in the middle border, for every other empty border or reverse character on your center stage, she loses 2k power. So if your other two borders are in reverse or are empty, then she loses 4k, just like her first effect. So if your other two boards or slots are empty, then she'll be like 9k again, which is pretty bad if she's in the center. But I'm sure you can play around that. Her third effect is okay. You look at top three and add one of those. Look at top three, add one card to your hand, put the rest in the waiting room. Not too shabby because it helps you dig for your climax. Of course, since you kind of add any card to your hand. And lastly, her climax combo is okay. Um, it's it's not that heavy, but it's not the lightest. You have to pay 3 and send the pans from your field to the waiting room. Um, I think the interesting part about the final effect is that since the requirement is sending of pans from your field to the waiting room, you can't actually get multiple air defense princess climax combos off, because if you get one off, you send the pants on the field to the waiting room, and if you have a second one, you can't really send another pants on your field to the waiting room, because it's already gone. So do keep in mind, at most you can only get one air defense princess climax combo off per turn, which kind of sucks because it's really cool getting multiple it's cool getting multiple climax combos off in one turn, like level 3 Yami, or in double attacking, you got like the level 3 Muse double attacker from the extra booster, or now we have the new level 3 Shiro from Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works. They could get multiple characters, multiple double attackers can combo off the climax and get, like multiple double attacks and can be really scary. But unfortunately, she can't do so, which kind of bites. But, I mean, what can you do? I kind of wish her third effect was more like Mia from True Love Through Darkness, where you get to look at top X, where X is like the number of a certain trait. And then, so at most, you can look at top 5. I think that would have been a lot better, because like I said, since you can only get one climax combo off per turn with Air Defense Princess, you're not going to be playing like 3 Air Defense Princesses in one turn, You're probably only going to be wanting to play one. Especially because she's best in the middle border, you're probably only going to be playing one Air Defense Princess per turn if you do decide to run her in your deck. And it sucks because you only get to look at top 3. If she was more like Mia, where you could look at top X for every trait, then you could look at top 5, and that would have been way better since you only want to play one Air Defense Princess per turn. So I think it's kind of dumb how they made her only look at top 3. I really, really wish it was like check top X. I think that would have been so much better, But unfortunately, I don't make the game, so Bushiroad has just decided to make her look at top 3, which is not as good as looking at top X, but I mean, what can you do? The card's already made. And lastly, I guess another thing to note about her double attack condition, since you are sending a climax from your field to the waiting room, you can trigger like your soul with it, because do keep in mind the pants is a continuous climax, so if it's sent from the field to the waiting room, your characters lose out on the 1k 1 soul power. So you can do some interesting soul controlling with it. A lot of times what sucks about like 1k 1 soul climax combos at level 3 is that sometimes it forces you to overswing. However, because the Air Defense Princess kills off your own pants, you can like attack for 3. If it sticks, they're at 3-6. You can't really attack in a normal scenario, you can't attack for 1 soul. Like you can't front or direct attack. You can't front for 1 soul. But with her climax combo, you can like send away the pants, and now your characters don't gain the extra soul. So I think that's really cool. Depending on the situation, you can decide when you want to climax combo, so that way you can decide on how to control the soul appropriately. So I think that's really cool. Another pro about this climax combo, in my opinion. But I guess a con about this is that it's a little scary because it's pay 3, kill a climax on your field, and let's say when you at the start of your attack phase you only have like, let's say, 0 stock. And that's quite possible. You're laying down a bunch of level 3s this turn, or you're playing like a bunch of level 3s, assists, brainstorming, etc., etc. At the end of at the start of your battle phase, you might only have like no stock. And if you want to build up the stock, you would attack with your other characters first. You have 3 characters. Let's say you attack with the right character, you attack with the left character, you attack with Air Defense Princess in the center. Then that way you can get 3 soul to get the double attack off, because you get it on reverse, so you actually do keep the soul. So that's a really common tactic to use with on reverse abilities, is you just attack with the other characters first to build stock, so that way you can pay the on reverse abilities cost easily. But with Air Defense Princess, it's a little scary because let's say Air Defense Princess is in the front border or is in the middle. Let's say your left and right characters are like level 1 characters. You know, if your right character attacks, it can be scary because if she gets reversed, then Air Defense Princess will lose out on 2k power. Same thing with the or with the left character, you know. Um, if you're in a situation where you have low stock and you're forced to attack with your other characters before Air Defense Princess, they have the chance of getting reversed, and if they do get reversed, then Air Defense Princess will lose out on power. And if she does lose out on power, that might make it so that you can't get the double attack off because you can't successfully reverse your opponent's character. So in that sense, it's a little scary, and it kind of sucks because of her second downside. You know, it's just like, oh man, your opponent can, depending on like their field, if they like back up against your other characters, then Air Defense Princess might be too low power to get the on reverse ability off. You know, but I guess that makes sense because she is 13k base, and with the 1k 1 soul, like if you choose to climax combo last turn, she'll be 14k before assist. Let's say you have a level assist in the back, she'll be 15.5, which is pretty ridiculous. So I guess it does make sense that she does have this downside, but it still kind of sucks. So just be a little wary when you're trying to climax combo with her. You know, if you have low amount of stock, just be careful. Maybe you should opt to side to get the double attack off, but you know, siding at level 3 kind of sucks because you know you want to get as much damage as possible at level 3. That way you can kill your opponent before they kill you, especially with how fast the meta can be nowadays. So there's a couple pros to this cards, but and a lot of cons to this. But in the end, it is a 14k double attacker, but it's not the greatest. Kind of a lot of conditions to it, and there are ways to play around it. Like if your opponent just has a really high power board, then they can like play around it. Can be stock intensive because like maybe you don't have the means to generate the stock, and if you like try to build up the stock, you might end up getting your other characters reversed and making Air Defense Princess weaker. But on the upside, there's no like there's no restriction to her on reverse ability. So like you might opt to put her on the left border, even though she'll lose 4k power. If she's attacking a level 0, then she'll get her double attack off because it's a level 0. It's not gonna back up against your 9k level 3, you know, or I should say 10k because when you climax combo, it's gonna be 10k. So she doesn't necessarily always have to be in the center. So I think that's kind of cool. But in the end, it's an okay card. I think it's a fairly balanced card in every way. And yeah, I guess it kind of sucks that you can't get multiple climax combos off. And I just really wish the third effect was check top X. You know, I think it would have been so much better. But oh well. Overall, in the end, it's a decent card. It's not like woo anything spectacular. It's all right. You know, it's only an R. It's not a double R, so I'm sure they'll get better cards than this. Maybe they'll get better level 3s in this. Who knows? We'll have to see what else the set has to offer. But I think it's an okay. For an R, I think it's quite fine, and it's a pretty fun R as well. Maybe not staple in the Kantai set, because it really just depends on what other level 3s they get. Maybe players will run like 2 or 3 of these, just because they might choose to run the 4 pants, because, you know, since the Kantai, the Abyssals are blue-green, the only plus triggers are gold bar and pants, and people might run 4 gold bars, 4 pants. I can totally see that happen. A lot of sweet Nisekoi opt to do that because they are like 2 plus. No, what am I talking about? A lot of Nisekoi decks don't do that. Ignore that comment. But I can see Abyssal players going that route because it's like 8 plus triggers, and that's always good, and they get past anti-salvage. So we'll just have to see where it goes. But it's okay. I mean, it's only an R. At least it's not double R. You know, it's only an R, so I think it's a fine R. I think Air Defense Princess looks really cool too. I really like the art on this card. Super cool. Anyways, let's go on. 002K comment, Destroyer 1 class, or is it Destroyer I class? I'm sure it's Destroyer 1 class. Abyssal Fleet and Destroyer. Continuous, you may have as many copies of this card with the same name as this card into your deck, and experience for every Destroyer 1 class in your level area. This card gains plus 2/5 power. So definitely one of those joke gimmicky cards. Every time it has the word, you may use as many copies of this card in your deck. Always a joke card. Joke card is a joke card. Don't run it. There are better options than this. But it's a pretty hilarious one if you have 3 of these in your level up zone. Or at level 1, if you have 1 of these in your level up zone, it's a 0045, which is like whatever. At level 2, it's a no cost, what is it, 7k, which is pretty scary. No cost 7k, pretty beast. And at level 3, it's a no cost 9.5, which is really good. But you know, if you're doing that, it's too much work, and also you're running a mono green deck essentially because you're forcing your level up zone to consist of only green cards. So definitely don't run this. It's hilarious though, lots of flavor. Anyways, let's go on to Tuesday. 001500 double R standard carrier wool class Abyssal Fleet and standard carrier trait. The first double R for Kantai, quite exciting. Anyway, she has two effects. First effect, during the start of your climax phase, choose one of your Abyssal Fleet characters and gets plus 1k until the end of the turn. The second effect, you can, it's an act ability, so you pay 1, clock yourself, put her to rest. If you do, search your deck for one Abyssal Fleet character, show it to your opponent, add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. So standard carrier wool class, I think it's an okay card. Very similar to like Takitsubo from Railgun, and very similar to the Saber in the first Unlimited Blade Works set. Very similar to those. You know, you pay 1, put her to rest, clock yourself, you search for a character. Quite nice. It's a ton of utility. It's a very light cost too. You just pay 1, clock yourself, and you search for a character. Very powerful. But the downside with like Takitsubo was like Takitsubo didn't do anything in the back row. You know, if you use Takitsubo effects, you kind of force yourself to leave her in the back row. And it kind of sucks. Your back row doesn't have much influence on the field. And that was like the biggest downside with like Takitsubo. However, the WoW class carrier, standard carrier, she does actually have some influence on the board despite being in the, like, if you use her effect and she's in the back row, she still helps you out in the front row because you give a character plus 1k during the start of your climax phase, which is quite nice. So overall, I think the WoW class card is fairly solid. It has a nice searching ability. You can pay 1, clock yourself, rest. Quite powerful. Search for an Abyssal Fleet, and then at the start of your climax phase, you give a character plus 1k. And already right off the bat, the plus 1k can be quite important because we know at least one of their level 3s is dependent on reversing your opponent's character, so that 1k can go a long way at level 3, making like the Air Defense Princess in an in a range that can't be backed up. So overall, a fairly solid card. Early game acts as a 1k power boost and a good searcher. And mid to late game, if you choose not to use her effect, at the very least, you can put her in the front row, and at the start of your climax phase, give your characters plus 1k. So, double R worthy? Yeah, I guess double R worthy. The most exciting double R? I don't think so, but it's alright. Next up, we have this pretty good card. 2/1/6/5 uncommon aircraft carrier and princess, of course, Abyssal Fleet and princess trait. So this card, when this card is, has two abilities, an auto. When this card is reversed in battle and the level of the card's battling opponent is greater than your opponent's level, you may place the top card of your opponent's clock to the waiting room. If you do, send that character to his owner's clock. And it has some weird secondary ability. Oops, let me, do not disturb. When this card is, and second ability, when you level up, this card gains pay 1 encore until the end of the turn. Second ability, very wonky, but I think the first effect is quite powerful. It's like an anti-change suicider. However, the card you suicide into goes into the clock, which is much better because it can't be encored. And yeah, that's a pretty big deal. It can't be encored, and because it goes to your opponent's clock, it can be quite difficult to salvage because, you know, like let's say you kill like level 3, like let's say I'm playing Nisekoi, I have like level 3 Kozaki. If they kill it and it goes to the waiting room, I might find a way to salvage it. Like I might use the red pendant next turn, or I might use the red pendant, grab level 3 Kozaki, and then play it again. And that can be pretty frustrating to deal with. However, against aircraft carrier princess, it would go into the clock, and it would make it more difficult for me to grab it back, since not every deck has ways to grab cards from their clock. So I think that's really good. Anti-change, or like change suiciders, like Adachi or Lala. I don't really know what to call them. I'm just going to call them like change suiciders, I guess. Anti-change suiciders, I guess I'll call them that. Anti-change suiciders, I think are very good. A very resource efficient way to get rid of level 3s that come out of level 2, which is of course, as we all, which I'm sure we all know by now, is very prominent in the meta today. Just so many sets have level 3s that come out of level 2. Having a nice efficient way to get rid of them is quite nice. And I think aircraft carrier princess does do the job just fine. So her first effect I think is very good. That alone makes it extremely playable in my opinion. Second effect, when you level up, this card gains plus 1, or just gets pay 1 encore. A little wonky, very situational to use in my opinion. But I mean, the first effect is already great enough that it's playable, and who knows, maybe sometimes the second effect will actually be useful. So overall, a nice card. Like I said, the first effect is fantastic. So when you don't, most of the time, I don't think you'll be using the second effect, but when it does happen and it does end up helping you out, that's really good. So overall, not the greatest second effect, but it may help. It may help out. So overall, really good card. Um, I can totally see like normal Kantai decks running this card. Yeah, you can't search it, you can't salvage it, or you could salvage it with like gates, but you can't like search it with like your brainstorms or whatever. Um, no synergy, but this card doesn't really need any synergy. If you have one in your hand, you can just play it and then just clock shoot your opponent's level 3s, and then that'd be really good. So I think you can actually splash this in your normal Kantai decks. We'll just have to see if players will opt to do that, but I can totally see that happening. I think it's a very fine card. For all Abyssal decks, I would recommend at least one or two of these, because like I said, I think it's really good. And, who knows, maybe normal Kantai decks will choose to run this, because it's a very efficient way to get rid of level 3s at level 2. And it's only uncommon, my god. Should be really easy to get yourself a playset of these. Should be. Some uncommons are just ridiculously expensive. Anyways, next up, 1/1 8K Common Southern War Demon, Abyssal Fleet, and War Demon. Continuous ability, the character directly opposite of this gets +1 soul. So obviously, 1/1 8K, ridiculously oversized, must have a huge downside, and this one is the character opposite of this gains +1 soul. Pretty huge downside. It's a level 1, so still susceptible to suicides. So if it does get suicided into by a level 1 suicider, you take an extra soul damage and you paid 1 stock for no real reason. And so many strong decks have level 1 suiciders. It's just way too dangerous to be running 1/1s that are susceptible to them. So this one, gets killed by that. Uh, you know, and like and even if it does, like even if your opponent can't get over it, they can always opt to side against it. Since they are gaining the +1 soul from her effect, they can always side for 1 at the very least. So it's not even that scary. And mid to late game, like at level 2 and on level 3, if you draw into these, like you have to make a pretty big decision. Are you going to waste 1 stock for a 1/1 8K? And if it does get killed, you're probably going to be taking an extra damage because of the extra soul it gives. Overall, not worth it. I highly recommend not running this card. I think you're better off just running better, more efficient cards than this. It's only a common for a reason, and for a very good one, it's not good. So don't run this card. On to Wednesday, we have this very interesting card. We have this 1045 double R. One second. Anyways, on to this interesting card, 1045 double R, Northern Princess, Abyssal Fleet, and Princess. Are they all princesses? Like, oh no, this one's not a princess, but she's a princess. This one's War Demon with princess. Princesses everywhere. Anyways, when the Climax Sync is played onto your Climax border and this card is in your front row, choose up to one of your opponent's level 0 and lower characters, place it to its owner's waiting room, and reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is a level 0 or lower character, add it to your hand. Otherwise, return it to its original position. And I'm sure you guys can guess, Sync is this gold bar right here, only in Climax Common. She looks really cute in the Sync art, but she looks kinda derpy, not cute in her double R art. Should be cute in both arts. Oh well. Anyways, Northern Princess. At first, I was pretty underwhelmed by this card. I didn't think it was that good. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that the more I grew to like Northern Princess. So, I guess right off the bat, her stats extremely undersized. 1045, really, really, really weak. And that's a pretty big deal nowadays, especially with so many on-reverse dependent level 1 climax combos like Minami from Idolmaster, Tachibana from Nisekoi, the list goes on and on. Having low power level 1s can be quite a nuisance. 10 another prime example. 1045 can be, makes you a little too susceptible to those attack climax combos, which kind of sucks. But her climax combo, I guess, maybe justifies that. So her climax combo, I think the best part about it is that you can target your opponent's back row because she only has to be in the front row, and then you choose one of your opponent's level 0 and lower characters and place it to the waiting room. And that's a pretty big deal. A lot of decks are very dependent on their back row. Every deck is dependent on their back row, I should say. And a lot of them do consist of level 0s. Many decks have brainstorms that like to chill in the back row. And those level 0s, brainstorms, are a very key part of a lot of decks. Like Charlotte, they have the 0/0 now brainstorm. Nisekoi 00 Tachibana, Guilty Crown, the level 0 Inori, Two Love for Darkness, level 0 Mekon, and they even have the level 0 Mekon anti salvage. You know, so many decks have such great level 0 assists that they depend on. She can get rid of them for free with her Climax combo. You know, there's no real way around it. You just choose an opponent's level 0 character and kill it off for no cost, which I think is really good. And the best part is that she's like, actually, let's go on. So you play the gold bar. You have Northern Princess in the front. You play the gold bar. You choose an opponent's level 0. Optimally, you choose an opponent character in the back row because it's very difficult to get rid of back row characters. You kill it off, and then you reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a level 0 or lower character, you add it to your hand. If it's not, it just goes, it just goes back. So I don't like, you reveal the top, and if it's level 0, you add it to your hand. That's like, it's whatever because it's a level 0. You know, it doesn't have much influence. Like, it doesn't have much impact in the game. Like, it could be a utility level 0, that'd be really good, but it's not just any character. Like, at level 3, grabbing a level 0 off the top of your deck isn't that good. They don't really, like, they're not that dependent on hand size, at least for now. Like, level 3 is not like on attack, pay 3, ditch 2. It's just, yeah, so grabbing a level 0 off the top of your deck isn't that great. But I think if we do the math, I think it's actually pretty good. So, grabbing a level 0 is not that, it's not the greatest. So, yeah. But I think if we do the math, I think overall, I think Northern Princess is fairly good because, let's see, you playing the Climax off your hand with Northern Princess, it's a -1. But then with Northern Princess, you kill a level 0. So if you kill an opponent's level 0, you break even because you're killing off a character for free. So you 1-for-1 at that point. You reveal the top card of your deck. If it's level 0, you add it to your hand. At that point, you +1. If you don't hit a level 0, not the end of the world. You still broke even with the gold bar in the end. So if it goes off, great, you +1. If it doesn't go off, you break even. And it's a pretty good break even too, because you get to kill an opponent's level 0, and optimally, it should be an important level 0 in your opponent's back row. So overall, I think it's really good. If the top check doesn't go off, optimally it would go off, because always having more cards in your hand is nice. But if it doesn't go off, no big deal, you broke even in the end. And your opponent might not have a good way to get that level 0 back. And yeah, it can just disrupt your opponent's field a lot. And there's a lot of cards nowadays that depend on, like, there's so many good, like, 1-0s that are dependent on having X, like, characters on the field. For example, like, 1-0 Mekon, 1-0 Eddie, 1-0 that girl from Kantai. She's in blue, I don't know her name, but the 1-0 now. Those 1-0 4/5s that get 500 per every other character on the field. If you can constantly, like, poke at their back row, it can be really good because them having one less character on their field would make that 1-0 have less power, and then you can kill it easier. And a lot of decks run those 1-0s like that, so I think this is a really good card against cards like that. And just in the end, overall, just a really good way to disrupt your opponent's back row. And the fact that this is a gold bar, it makes it super spammable. It's like, okay, Northern Princess 1, play gold bar, poke your opponent's back row. Oh, this next attack. Oh, trigger a gold bar. Cool, add it to my hand. Your Northern Princess dies because she's only 4/5. Next turn, draw. Oh, you have another Northern Princess in your hand. Play it again. Play the other gold bar. Poke at your opponent's back row again. It can just be really frustrating, and your opponent might not be able to maintain a good back row because of the constant spamming that you can potentially do because of Northern Princess being costless, completely costless, and the fact that a gold sync is a gold bar. So I think that's really cool. A constant spammable, cheap way to poke at your opponent's back row. I think that's super awesome. Just super awesome. I think it's really cool, and I like it a lot. Of course, this is pretty matchup dependent. Many decks do run level 0s in the back row, but not every deck does. Prime example, like yellow or green. If a Love Live player is running yellow or green, sometimes they don't choose to run level 0 assists in the back row. Sometimes their back row only consists of level 1s or level 2s, like level 1 Umi or level 1 Nico. You just have 2 of those in the back row, and yeah, that's all you really need. Or you run like a level 1, or you run like the 1-0 Umi Brainstorm assist, and you run it with like a level assist, like the 2-1 Hanayo maybe, or the 2-1 Eddie, whatever colors you're running. Really just depends. Or the new 2-1 red Umi. Really just depends, like I said. But against certain matchups like that, this card doesn't really do much for you. You poke your opponent's front row, which isn't very good. But like I said, a lot of decks do run back rows that are level zeros, and she's really good against that, and very relevant in a lot of matchups. So I like this card a lot. I think it's really, I don't think, I think it's good. Yeah, I think it's good, but I think the best part is that I think it's a lot of fun. So I personally really like Northern Princess and her Climax combo. Will people opt to run it? I'm not too sure. Like it's cool. I like it a lot, and I think it's really cool. But ultimately in the end, if your opponent's like level 3, and then I like draw onto Northern Princess and her gold bar, I'm gonna be like, what the fuck? Like I really don't care about this right now. But in the early and mid stages of the game, I think it's kind of cool. But like late game, it really it really doesn't do much of anything in the late game. And in the end, isn't that what's most important? Killing your opponent before they can kill you. Very debatable, but I like it a lot. But like I said, will players opt to run it? Maybe. It's a gold bar. Gold bar is a fairly good trigger. Adds hand size. It's a plus trigger. And since the set is blue-green, getting that plus trigger can be important. They don't have much choices. They only have gold bar or pants. So people might just run the gold bar just to get the good trigger off. And if that's the case, they might run 1 or 2 Northern Princesses. Who knows? We'll have to see. But if you're running like 4 gold bars, maybe run 2 or 3, or I would say 1 to 3 of these Northern Princesses, and it might be pretty good. We'll just have to see. But my final verdict, I like it a lot. I think it's a lot of fun. Next up, we have the 002K common Destroyer Princess, more princesses, Abyssal Fleet, and Princess Strait. This card, when this card is played from hand to stage, look at the top 1 card of your deck. Couldn't I just say top card? Oh well, look at the top 1 card of your deck. Leave it on top or place it to the bottom. Next up, it combos with Fall, Lols, Fall, Sink. Anyways, when the Climax Fall is placed on your Climax border and this card is on your center stage, reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is an Abyssal Fleet character, this card gives plus 5k until the end of the turn. Fall is a blue stock 1 soul, and it's only common. So Destroyer Princess, I think, is okay. Not the greatest Climax combo, but I certainly don't think it's unplayable. I think it's actually not too shabby. Of course, the idea behind it is that you use her on-play ability to guarantee her secondary ability, because her on-play ability, you can look at top. If it's not an Abyssal character, and you want to Climax combo on that turn, then obviously you put it to the bottom. That way the next card on top can be an Abyssal character, Abyssal Fleet character. So obviously you play Destroyer Princess, look at top. If it's an Abyssal Fleet, cool. Play the stock 1 soul, and then go from there. Of course, this does work with multiple Destroyer Princesses because you only have to reveal the top. So if your top 1 card is an Abyssal Fleet character, and if you have like 4 Destroyer Princesses on the field for whatever reason, they can all go off with this Fall Climax combo, or with just 1 single Fall, because you only reveal the top, and it'll just keep triggering for all of them. So that's kind of cool, and it does give a huge amount of power. She gets 5k power until the end of the turn, so she'll be a 007k. When her Climax combo goes off, and is completely costless, she's costless herself, and the Climax combo is costless, so that's pretty cool. A 007k off a Climax combo, not too shabby at all. And like so in the early stages of the game, she can be like a pretty big beater. At level 0, if you get her Climax combo off, she's 7k, so no one's going to kill that. She's going to kill everything. Even like level 1 characters that come out of level 0s, she'll probably kill those too. And at level 1, she's still actually pretty relevant. She'll be 7k before assist, which is very high for a costless character. Not the greatest, but still a very respectable amount. And in the mid to late stages of the game, she can act as a free top check, which can be pretty good because the top check does synergize with something like the Air Defense Princess. You can play her first. If you see a character, put it to the bottom of the deck. Then you can play your Air Defense Princess, so that way you're 1 card deeper into your deck into getting a pants. So maybe a little synergy like that with the Air Defense Princess. And of course, if you don't want to use it like that, you can just always use it for the free trigger check, which can be cool. But so in the end, it's kind of cool. It does have its uses, but will people run this Fall Climax combo? I don't know. Late game, it's very low impact late game. Kind of like Destroyer Princess, but I think Destroyer Princess is a little better. Very dependent on the matchup, like I said, but I do think it's a little better. It also has the better trigger, in my opinion. But maybe people run Destroyer Princess. I don't really see it happening, but it's not the end of the world. High power. The blue stock 1 soul itself is a really good Climax to play. I'm a pretty big fan of Stock 1 Soul. At first, I was a little iffy about it, but you know, it's been out for a couple years now, and it has turned out to be a fairly powerful climax. So Stock 1 Soul, a nice climax. Destroyer Princess, you know, it's kind of like a free trigger check. So you know, maybe if you're running like 4 falls just for the Stock 1 Soul climax, maybe you'll run 1 or 2 Destroyer Princess, because without the climax, she's an okay top checker. And with the climax, she's a 007k. So, you know, for a common, I definitely think it's solid. But I don't really see people running it. Maybe I think people will run other things. But like I said, I definitely don't think it's the worst thing ever. And for a common, I think it's quite good. But I don't think people will be running it. Really cute, though. Anyways, let's go on to this pretty interesting card. 2135 uncommon aircraft carrier water demon, Abyssal Fleet, and water demon trait. When this card is played from your hand to your stage, and if you have 4 or more other Abyssal Fleet characters, you can gain a blind stock. Next up, she has another auto ability. When this card is played from hand to stage, you can pay cost, which is 1. If you do, search your deck for an Abyssal Fleet character, show it to your opponent, add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. So Aircraft Carrier Water Demon, I think she's a fairly solid card, especially for an uncommon. Of course, you would want to get her first effect off. If you have a full field and you play Aircraft Carrier Water Demon, you do gain the blind stock. You know, blind stock is blind stock. It can be a little dangerous, but Aircraft Carrier Water Demon's second ability allows you to pay out that blind stock immediately. Since they're both auto abilities, you can choose which one resolves first. I do think you should resolve the first one first, because if you resolve the first effect first, then you can immediately pay out the blind stock, which is really good. And then you get to search out your deck for an Abyssal Fleet, show it to your opponent, add it to your hand. Not too shabby, a pretty efficient way to search your deck out for an Abyssal Fleet character. You're essentially only paying 1 to search out for a character, which is really good. Most of the time, to search your deck, you have to, like, you know, play an event, brainstorm, or like pay 1 discard. But this one's just pay 1. But of course, the downside is that she's only 3-5 power. Yikes. Very, very, very low power, especially at level 2. Just super low. A little unbearably low, you know? So that's a huge downside to this card in my opinion. But it is, like I said, a very cheap way to search out for a character, which is nice. But I think another downside to this card is that if you want to get both abilities off, searching your deck for an Abyssal Fleet character might not be that good on that turn. Because let's say you play like, let's say you want to grab the level 3 Air Defense Princess and play her on the same turn. You play your aircraft, and you want to get both of these effects off. So you have 4 characters on the field. You play the Aircraft Carrier Water Demon. Now you have 5, so you gain the blind stock, and you search out for your Air Defense Princess. But you already have a full field. So now you have to, if you want to play out the character you searched out, in this case Air Defense Princess, you have to play over your other character. Which can, you know, which isn't the greatest because you are minusing yourself at that point, but you might have to do so. So, you know, the point I want to make is that if you want to get both effects off, the character you search from your deck to your hand, you probably don't want to play that turn unless you want to minus yourself, which isn't the worst case ever. You know, sometimes you just do have to minus yourself to get the optimal field, but you know, it's just something to keep in mind. With like proper planning, you don't have to do this. Like you can play her last, grab an Air Defense Princess that you know you want to play next turn. So with proper planning, you can't just play around it. So in the end, I think she's a very solid uncommon. I think it's a solid card, just really, really, really weak. It's just like too weak. So it's an okay card. I think it's playable. I think if you're gonna choose to run this card, you would only run 1 or 2. If I wanted to run this card, I would personally run 1, but I think you can get away with 2. I definitely don't recommend 3. I think 3 is way too much, so maybe 1 or 2. And I do think this card is okay, but we'll soon, in these next 2 days, we'll see other cards that can search out other characters. You know, we'll see other good searching cards, so I'm not too sure Water Demon is necessary. Like, as of right now, we already have the Standard Carrier Wool class, which can search anything in like the early, mid stages of the game, and soon we'll see other cards that can search. So I'm not too sure if this card is necessary. But as a standalone card, I like it, but I don't think it's the greatest. Next up, we have a fairly interesting card. 103KR, Midway Princess, Abyssal Fleet, and Princess. She has 5 freaking effects. How often do you see that? So, first effect, Act Ability. Pay 1, choose an Abyssal Fleet. Gets plus 1500 until the end of the turn. 2, an auto ability. When this card is played from hand to stage, look at top 2 cards of your deck, then return them to the top of your deck in the original order. 3, Continuous, if you have 3 or more Abyssal Fleet characters, this card gains plus 1k. 4. For every other level 0 or lower character you control, it gets plus 500. 5. When this card is placed from your stage to the waiting room, you can pay cost, which is pay 1, discard a card. If you do, choose one Midway Princess final form from your waiting room and place it onto any border of your stage in rest. I guess we should talk about Midway Princess final form first. So 2/1/7/5 common, Abyssal Fleet and Princess. It has 2 abilities. Her first ability is an auto. During the start of your draw phase, when you have no other characters on your front row, this card gains plus 4k until the end of the turn. And secondly, she has another auto ability. It's an Encore. It's that weird color Encore that we saw with the Ring from Unlimited Blade Works Part 2. It has discard 1 green card from your hand to the waiting room. That is the Encore cost. And once again, the author notes, do keep in mind it's a new Encore. So where to start with this? I guess first we'll talk about the 1/0 Midway Princess. 5 effects, and I think she's a fairly solid card. At first, I thought she was a little wonky and not that good, but the more I thought about it, I think the better it became in my head. So her first ability, you pay 1, choose an Abyssal Fleet, give it plus 1500 power. Not the greatest ability in the early mid stages of the game. But at the late game, when your characters are dependent on reverse abilities to get their effects off, it can be quite useful. Prime example is, of course, Air Defense Princess. She can use all the power she can get to get her Climax Combo off. So using paying 1 to guarantee a Climax Combo, or paying 2 or 3 can be good. And do keep in mind, you can use this as many times per turn as you want. So you can use it like 4 times and give like your Air Defense Princess, let's say, what's that, 6k? So your Air Defense Princess will be 20k when you Climax Combo that turn, which is pretty ridiculous. So I think that's cool. And tomorrow we'll see another level 3 that's dependent on getting power, on reversing your opponent's character to get the on reverse ability. So another good target for her first effect. So her first effect I think is quite fine, especially with how the level 3s are as of right now. Her second effect, you look at top 2, you put them back in any order, or you put them back in the same order. It's not too bad. In the early stages of the game, it can act as a free trigger check, or in all stages of the game, I should say, it acts as a free trigger check. Since they go back in the same order, you look at them, cool, you know what you're gonna trigger next, and you put them back. Also, if you see like a couple climaxes off there, you can choose to brainstorm them out because you know you're gonna you rather not trigger them. If you don't want to trigger them, I should say, you could just brainstorm them away. So I think that's also really nice. And also, her second effect does have some pretty decent synergy with the level 3 Air Defense Princess. If you don't already have a pants in your hand for the Air Defense Princess, you can play the Midway Princess first. Look at top 2, and if you see a pants amongst those, then you can play the level 3 Air Defense Princess and grab that pants directly to your hand because you can, because Air Defense Princess looks at top 3, so that's pretty cool. Or like if you play Midway Princess, you look at top 2. If you don't see the pants off those 2 cards, it might persuade you to like brainstorm first to try to get rid of those cards. So that way, when you do play Air Defense Princess, you have a higher chance of grabbing pants. Or it might persuade you to not like even play Air Defense Princess. You look at top 2. If they're 2 characters, then maybe you don't want to play Air Defense Princess that turn because you're not confident the 3rd card will be a pants. So I think it has a really good synergy with the Air Defense Princess. Makes it a little more consistent and maybe a bit more stable, or I should say maybe makes it more reliable. So I think that's pretty cool. Trigger check and pretty decent synergy with the level 3. I think that's awesome. Her third effect, if you have 2 or more Abyssal Fleet characters, she gets plus 1k, so it should be 4k at the very least. Very easy. Having 2 characters on the field at level 1 is a joke, so should always be 4k to be completely honest. Her fourth effect, she gets 500 per every level 0 on the field. This effect a lot of cards have, and it's just very dependent on like the set. Like Devil Survivor has this with like the 1/0 Hibiki, and it's really good in Devil Survivor because your back row is usually consisted of level 0s, you know, being level 0 Hibiki himself and level 0 Io herself. But in something like Love Live, like there's a 1/0 Maki with this effect in the extra booster, and you don't really see that card get any play because Love Live's back row is usually consisted of at least one level 1 card, which is the 1/0 Umi or the 1/0 Nico. So not as good in Love Live. But so it is dependent on how the set works. But later in this week or in today, these next 2 cards right here are very good back row characters, and I think they will be the main back row cards for this set, and they're both level 0. So because of these 2 level 0s, I think her fourth effect is actually much better. So I think you will always have two level zeros in your back row, and even like the standard woe carrier can be a good back row character. So I think she will always at least have two characters in the back row. So at the very least, I think she'll always be a 105k before assist. 1k from her third effect, another 1k from her fourth effect. Because like I said, I think your back row will always consist of level zeros, at least in the level 1 portion of the game. So at least a 105k. So that's not too shabby with her first effect being with having two pretty cool first two abilities. Being a 105k is not too shabby. And lastly, her auto ability. This one I'm not too happy about. I think it's a little weird because the card she changes into, I don't think it's that great. It's 2175 Final Form Midway Princess. I don't think she's very good. Yes, she can come out at level 1 thanks to Midway Princess's effect, but it's not that great in my opinion. She has her first ability is very lackluster. At the start of your draw phase, you have no other characters on the center stage. She gets plus 4k. That's not too bad because if in your opponent's turn, if you have three characters, Final Form Princess and two other weak characters, they kill your other two characters off. Then Final Form will go off and she'll be 11-5, and that's really good because she's a 2-1 11-5. She can't be suicided into, and she's 11-5 at level 2 for God's sake. She's probably gonna kill everything. She'll probably even kill level 3s that come out at level 1 at that point, being 11-5 for 4 assists. So that's really cool, but I mean, you're kind of you're giving up your other two characters to make one strong character, you know what I'm saying? And if her first effect doesn't go off, she's actually fairly low powered. She's only 7-5. And 1-1s can be 7-5 or hell, even 8k nowadays if we look at this War Demon here. But not a lot of not a lot of 1-1 8ks yet, but I'm assuming in the future there will be more 1-1 8ks. But I don't know, I just don't really like this Final Form Princess. Her first effect is kind of difficult to get off. Not really. You're kind of giving up your other two. You're kind of counting on your other two characters to die for her to get her first effect off, which I guess is possible. But I don't think you really want to have your other two characters constantly die because, like I said, with so many 1-0 climax combos that plus on reverse, you don't really want your opponents to get too many of those off. But if you want your other two characters to die, you're kind of offering your opponent to get the free plus. So that's not really good. But I mean, her first effect can totally come out and happen, and it's not too hard to accomplish either because she does have the hand encore or the color encore. I guess I'll call it color encore. I'm not really sure what to call it because it's so new, but she does have the whole color encore thing, which can be pretty cool, especially for green. I think green and blue has the best color encore because green has the gold bar, and sometimes having these gold bars in your hand constantly can be a nuisance to deal with. So now with this new color encore, you can get rid of these gold bars that you trigger in a pretty easy and nice way. So I think green does get a huge benefit off the color encore just because of the nature of the gold bar. Also, I think blue benefits once again because of the nature of the pants. Like if you pants and you get another pants or maybe a blue book, then you can discard it with the blue color encore maybe. Or maybe if you trigger a pants, you could pants back a gold bar, and that way you can use the color encore to get rid of the gold bar in your hand. So the green color encore is quite nice. You can discard excess climaxes, or you could just discard a character just like a normal hand encore. So it's not the shittiest card ever, but I don't think it's that great. Level 1, at level 1 it can work out, but starting after level 1, going on to level 2 and level 3, it's a pretty dead card. So I don't recommend it. I think you're hurting your deck too much, and I think it's a little too much work to get this off. I think you're better off not running this card. I think the Midway Princess alone, I think she's okay. Her first two effects have have pretty good utility, especially in conjunction with the level 3 Air Defense Princess. And like I said, I do think at the very least she will be a 105k, which isn't too bad either. So overall, I think Midway Princess is a good, cool card. 5 effects, very wonky. And at first I was like, all these effects sucks. But as I pictured more of how the set works, I think she fits quite nicely into the Abyssal Fleet set. I think she'll be a pretty good boon to it. Maybe you could run 1 or 2 or 3 of these Midway Princesses, and maybe it won't be too bad, especially if you're running it in conjunction with the Air Defense Princess. I think it's kind of cool. I like this card a lot. Her last effect, though, I'm not really feeling. and I'm not really feeling the final form Air Defense Princess. I think the card is just fine without like running her, and you don't have to use the last effect, you know. And I'll leave it at that. Next up, the next two cards, like I said, I think are really good back row assists. 001K double R, so the first blue double R, Anchorage Demon, Abyssal Fleet, and Demon trait. So I think it consisted of demons and princesses, because that seems to be the main trait. Except this girl, she's normal. Everyone else is like princess, demons. Anyways, so this card, very common, very standard, but very solid. Continuous ability. Your other character in the middle border of your center stage get plus 500 power, so not too bad. And act ability, you can pay 1, put her to rest. If you do, mill top 4 for every climaxes amongst those. Search your deck for Abyssal Fleet character, show it to your opponent, add it to your hand, then shuffle your deck. So your typical plus brainstorm, pay 1, mill top 4, search for every climax. Very solid, very good. You know, if your set has a plus brainstorm, you should definitely try writing a couple of them, because plus brainstorm is a very nice way to mill through your deck and to plus at the same time. Anchorage Demon is no exception. The brainstorm in itself makes this card very good, but the extra 500 power to your center character is also another good benefit to this, because you know, having extra power is always nice, and you know, since it gives it to the middle border of the center stage, it's a little better in the set because the Air Defense Princess wants to be in the middle, so has a little synergy with the Air Defense Princess. It's only 500, but sometimes that 500 is what makes or breaks it. So very solid card, definitely staple. I would definitely consider running 2 or 3 of these, because plus brainstorm is just too good it's just too good to pass up on. So, and it has a very nice first ability. So very standard card, but very good. Highly recommend running 2 to 3 of these. Next up, Southern War Princess, another really good card. Abyssal Fleet and Princess. So first effect of continuous, all your Abyssal Fleet get plus 500 power. So 500 global right off the bat. That alone makes it very playable. Second effect, auto. When this played from hand to stage, reveal a top card of your deck. If that card is an Abyssal Fleet character, add it to your hand, then discard 1 card from your hand to the waiting room. So, like I said, 500 global already makes it really good, and it does have the free top check on play. Free hand filter on play. You reveal top, if it's an Abyssal Fleet, cool, add it to your hand, discard a card. Very nice, very good way to filter your hand and discard excess climaxes. If your deck has card effects like these, it's really good, because it's a really good way to filter your hand. Really good way to get rid of excess climaxes in your hand before refresh. You know, if your set has this, you should definitely consider running a couple. Like, so many decks that have this effect run these. Like there's like the level 0 Charlotte, what's her name, Yusa, the 1015. I mean, like, a lot of Charlotte players are running that like at 4. Just one example, just a lot of card effects like these, but you know, definitely run this. Run 3 or 4 of these. I would personally run 4 of these for the 500 global, to guarantee the 500 global, and to guarantee the to guarantee the 500 global, I should say. And like, if you draw more of these, then that's not too bad, because it's a free hand filter. If you reveal a character, which is most likely going to happen. So really good, really good. Definitely R worthy. And on to the final day, the best day. Like I said, guys, we get a little Love Live this week, and the final day is, of course, for Love Live. First off, a bunch of Love Live movie SPs with the same name. Bushiro catching on Muse. I'll ignore that. Final Live, that's coming April 2016. Slick move, very slick move indeed. The movie Extra Booster, I'm super excited for. I love this movie. Love this movie. And like the author said, these do all have the same name. I'm sure if you guys watched the movie, you guys know where this is from. This is from the final song they sing. So, all have the same name, but I think it's really cool. What's really interesting about this is that they all have different triggers. So, there's 3 gates, 1 for Honkers, 1 for Kotori, and 1 for Umi. And there's 3 gold bars, of course, I'm sure you can guess. 1 for Eddie, 1 for Nozomi, and 1 for Nico. And lastly, 3 pants, 1 for the first years, 1 for Hanayo, 1 for Maki, and 1 for Rin. So, yeah. If you guys want to know the name, it's Bokutachi wa Hitotsu no Hikari, which is We Are Single Light. So, yeah. Sign climaxes, we don't really see that every day. I think Milky Homes has signed climaxes, but I don't think they're like SPs. I think they're promos or something, and they have like the real life girls. So I think that's really cool. Signed climaxes. I assume these are going to be the only signed in the sets, but even then, I'm really happy for these. But besides the aesthetic part and me being a fanboy, I think the most interesting thing about this is that if there are cards, which I'm sure there's going to be, because this is the final song in Love Live, and very important because it's the final song. I'm sure there will be cards that climax combo with "We Are a Single Light" climax, and if that's the case, you can run that climax. You can combo that with anything of your choice. So like, uh, if there's like a level 3, well, spoilers, next week there's a level 3 Nico that combos with "We Are a Single Light." So with that level 3 Nico, of course, at first glance, you would combo it off with the gold bar because it's in green. But if you're running a multicolored deck in Love Live, which is probably going to happen unless you're running a mono blue deck, which is also a really good deck. If you're running like a green, red, yellow deck, you could be running like you could combo that gold bar. You could be comboing that level 3 Nico combo with like a gate if you're running green, yellow, red, which is super awesome. You could run like 4 gates. You can run like 8 gates and still combo with the green level 3 because it has the same name but it's in red and it's a different color climax. So I think that's really cool. So I'm really interested to see how Bushiroad implements this same name climax into the set. I hope there's a lot of really good climaxes that combo off "We Are a Single Light" because that way it gives a lot of versatility and I think interesting deck building ideas for the set. So yeah, I'm just really excited, super excited. Of course, you guys know me. I really want that Maki, really want the Maki. Just look, look, look at that. How do you? Let's zoom in on that. Beautiful. But yeah, I definitely want the Maki. My second favorite, I'm sure maybe some of you guys know, but it's Honkers. So if I get a Honker or Maki SP Climax, I'll be the happiest guy in the world. And yeah, that's it for Love Live, sadly. But next up, we have a 3-2 Northern Princess was final form, 10k double R. Oh man, I didn't even noticed this was Northern Princess when I first saw it. That's cool. Anyways, Northern Princess's final form, double R. So I think this is the third green double R this week. God damn, they're going through these fast. Anyways, continuous ability, experience. When all cards in your level area are Abyssal Fleet, she gets plus 15, and she has another effect, auto. During the start or during the turn this card is played from hand to stage. When this card is reversed, or when this card reverses its opponent in battle, you can pay cost, which is 1. If you do, place that card to its owner's clock. Very standard card, nothing special. I think Bushiroad's getting a little lazy with the green level 3s as of lately, to be completely honest. Another clock shooter. So yeah, I mean, clock shoot is really good, and yeah, clock shoot's really good. No one can deny how good clock shoot is. But I think it's a little boring at this point. But what can you do? In the end, if your level area has all Abyssal Fleet characters, which is probably going to happen, because you're probably, if you're running Abyssal Fleet, you're probably running a majority of Abyssal Fleet cards. So our first effect isn't really even a condition in the first place. She's pretty much an 11-5 base level 3. So yeah, pretty much 11-5 base. And when you kill something, you pay 1 clock shoot for the turn, which I think is so yeah, really good, really solid, very standard. A lot of sets have this by now, and this one's really good. It should be no exception. So yeah, overall I think it's going to be staple. Very good game ender. Probably people are going to be running 2 to 4 of these because it's just that good. I guess a little side note, I kind of wished her auto ability, her clock shoot cost was like Sasami from Little Busters, where instead of paying 1, you discard a card from your hand to clock shoot. I think that would have been a little better in the set because as of right now, we know the other game ending level 3 does require stock. Not the hugest amount of stock ever, but it does require stock. So having a little extra stock to get off Air Defense Princess's ClimaxCombo off can be quite nice, you know what I mean? So that extra stock would probably hurt if you're trying to get off Air Defense Princess and Final Form off at the same turn. And as of right now, it seems like the set can get a lot of hand size fairly easily. Like, if you're running passes, and if you're running gold bars, that's 8 plus triggers. Right now, you could plus off the Woe class, you could plus off the Brainstorm, you get a free hand fix, and the next card we'll talk about is another way to plus. So I think the set has a lot of ways to gain hand size, and, maybe if this was discard a card to clock shoot, maybe it would have been a little better, just because of the nature of the other level 3 right now. So just a little side note, but I think that would have been better. But, what can we do? At this point, it's already done. So, in the end, it doesn't change that this is a good card. So, yeah, staple. Next up, the other card that I think this card's fairly solid. 2/16K, R Isolated Island Demon, Abyssal Fleet, and Demon. So continuous. 1K global for Abyssal Fleet. And her secondary ability is an act ability. You can pay 2, put her to rest. If you do, search your deck for one Abyssal Fleet character, show it to your opponent, add it to your hand, and shuffle your deck. Very solid card. It's level 2 assist. You know, most of the time, you should consider running a level 2 or greater assist because, you know, having that extra assist in the late game can be quite nice. You know, not mandatory. Not every decks run a level 2 assist or level 3 assist. But, you know, if you can, why not? This one's fairly solid, 1K global. You know, can't complain with a 1K global. And pay 2, put her to rest, search your deck for an Abyssal Fleet. Very standard, but not too shabby at all either. So another way you can gain hand size. Also nice that you only place her to rest, so you can use it in conjunction in the same turn with the Anchorage Demon, because the Anchorage Demon only has to put herself to rest, and Island Demon only has to put herself to rest as well, so you can't use these two in the same turn for 3 stock, which isn't too bad. So, yeah, really good that both of these only have to rest themselves. So yeah, with all these ways to gain hand size, and this is only the first week. I kind of wish Final Form was discard a card, Clock Shoot, but like I said, what can you do? That panty shot though, damn. Anyways, that is it for this week. Overall, a very exciting week as a whole. We saw a lot of Abyssal Fleet Kantai girls, and I think they're pretty cool right now. Not the craziest thing ever, but I really think they're cool. I really like Air Defense Princess. Like I said, I don't think she's the greatest card, but I really love the art on this card. So, and I think she's definitely playable in my opinion. So, I think love the art, and I think she's pretty cool. So, I'm really excited about this card. I like it. So, I like the card. I think it's solid. Joke card. Good world class card. Maybe run 1 or 2, 3 of these. It's a solid card. Aircraft Carrier Princess, I think is gonna be staple. I would consider running 1 or 2 of these in all your Kantai Abyssal Fleet decks, and maybe you could even run these in your normal Kantai decks because why not? Southern War Demon, don't run it. Northern Princess, I like it a lot, but will it be ran? Who knows? We'll have to see. Destroyer Princess, I think it's kind of playable, but I don't think I would run it, and I don't see it being ran, but it's playable. Aircraft Water Demon, like I said, I think it's, as a standalone card, it's fairly solid, but with so many ways to plus. World Class, English Demon, and Isolated Demon. You know, is this really necessary? I don't think so, but we'll have to see. Maybe a Tech 1-up, maybe? We'll see. Thursday, Midway Princess. I like her a lot. I think she's cool. I think she works well with the set. Final Form, not my cup of tea. Anchorage Demon, really good, staple. Southern War Princess, really good, staple. Best cards this week, the SPs. Man, I just really hope I get the Maki. Really hoping. And Final Form, staple. And Isolated Demon, playable. Will it be used? Maybe, possibly, but we'll have to see. If she's the only assist that's above level 0, then probably going to be ran, but maybe like next week we'll see a level assist, then maybe it won't be ran. We'll just have to see. But yeah, that's it for this video. That's all the cards this week. But I think a little something I want to note is that these level 3s, or like these level 3s for Kantai, aren't very dependent on the Abyssal Fleet characters. Like for example, Air Defense Princess, she just has to be in the middle and your other characters don't have to die. And even if she's on the side, you could just, you know, kill something, pay 3, kill the book, or kill the pants, and then, you know, get climax combos. Same thing with Final Form. She's not, you don't really need to run, like, you could run normal ship girls in your deck, just level up the Abyssal Fleet, and you'll still gain the benefit of Final Form. I don't think they're, like, okay, what is stopping a Kantai player from running this annoying asshole? That we should probably all know by now. 3/2 Akagi from the first booster, 95. She's not dependent on having other fleet girls. All you need is the gold bar, and all you need is a gold bar. So what's stopping an Abyssal Fleet player from running like 3 or 4 of these damn Akagis from the first set? Yeah, you can't search her out. Yeah, you can't salvage her. You can't search her, but you could just draw into these and just hold them in your hand till the late game. You know what I mean? And then when you hit level 3, like she combos with a gold bar. So like you could run this in any deck. So what's stopping an Abyssal Fleet player from running 3 to 4 Akagis and her gold bar combo, you know? And I think that's pretty lame. Because, like, if you're running an Abyssal Fleet deck, you should just have Abyssal Fleet characters, you know? In the game, they're sworn enemies. They don't even talk to each other. They don't reason with each other. They just fucking kill each other, you know? So, I don't really want to see the two sets combine. You know, maybe, like, I'm not a huge Kantai fan. I think the girls are really cute, and I played it for like a week. I don't know if anyone's noticed, but I have the little Kantai app from when I played for a week, but then my internet shitted on me, and I couldn't get the game to run. It kept disconnecting every like 5 minutes. It was just too frustrating, and I stopped playing it. But you know, I'm not a huge Kantai fan. But you know, I personally don't really want to see the two sets work together. I don't really think Bushiroads wants that either. But as of right now, yeah, you can search out Akagi, but like in the end, Akagi's gonna kill you if you get like 3 of these, and then she's really hard to deal with, you know. So I kind of wish these, in the end, I just wish these level 3s were more dependent on the Abyssal Fleet characters actually being on the field. Like, I think a good example is the Sweets Nisekoi deck in, um, of course, Nisekoi, the level 3 Kosaki, with her climax combo. When she attacks, you need to have a full field of Sweet characters to get the climax combo off. That alone makes it very enticing for the Nisekoi player to run a full Sweets deck. But on top of that, we have the level 3 Haru, which on play, you have to mill 3 Sweets character. And that can be, if you're not running a full Sweets deck, it can be very inconsistent. Like, it's already inconsistent as it is with 42 Sweets character. But, you know, something like that, where where it's focused completely on a certain trait, makes it so that the Sweets Nisekoi deck, you know, entices the player to run an entire Sweets deck. And I think that's what makes the Sweets deck really cool. And it forces us to play a Sweet deck. However, the Abyssal Fleet characters, they don't do that. Like, why not run Abyssal Fleet? As of right now, why not run Abyssal Fleet? You know, people might not even run Air Defense Princess. They might just run, like, 3 Northern Princess Final Form, 4 of these damn Akagis, and then go, you know, go kill them. And they might even run, like, 1 anti-healing... Actually, no, you can't do anti-heal on Akagi, huh? But even that, I'm just saying, or like maybe, because it's in green-blue, and like maybe the Kantai player will run the anti-healing Hibiki. Maybe they won't run the change target, but they'll still run the anti-healer. Where is she? I'm sure we all know it by now. Yeah, this one, like, you know, what's stopping a Kantai player from running this card? Yeah, you can't change, but it's still an anti-healer in the end, so like, what's stopping an Abyssal Fleet player from running that, you know? Probably just the ban list at that point, but in the end, I just want to say that hopefully next week we'll see level 3s, or just say, like level 3s that just focus on having a full field of Abyssals, or like having a deck filled with Abyssals. That way it's more enticing for them to do so. But yeah, that's enough for this little rant. In the end, it's very irrelevant, but I just don't, it's just me, just kind of gripes me as a player personally. But yeah, it's an hour 13 minutes. I kept you guys here long enough. My friends are waiting on me to hang out, so I'll end this video so I could, you know, stop them from waiting. And yeah, we'll just leave it at Maki's beautiful face. And until next time, guys. Super excited.